Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Welcome to Accelerated Health Radio and TV. I'm your host, Sara Banta. I'm a health coach, natural supplement expert, and a busy mom of 3 teenagers. Today, my guest will be talking about how to improve your eyesight. And I know that you need that strong physical foundation of your whole body in order for your mental health and spiritual growth, whether it's overcoming anxiety and depression, losing weight, or detoxing your body in the proper way, and even increasing your level of frequency in life. You need that strong physical foundation of health in order to gain the willpower to make the bigger changes in life. If you're new to following me, I specialize in helping you get there. You can find my health articles, my cutting-edge natural supplements, devices, and protocols at acceleratedhealthproducts.com. Accelerated Health Products is the sponsor of this show, so as you support my website, I'm able to bring you more cutting-edge content and guests to this show. But first, I want to talk about some tools you can use to enhance your results in your health and make it easier to improve your better mind and body connection, improve energy, and reverse aging, not just anti-age. The goal is to improve mitochondrial health, increase energy at the cellular level so the neurons are firing. The first supplement is the accelerated keto. This is the game changer. This flips you into fat burning mode within 30 minutes, and your body taps into its own fat stores for energy right away. And you feel this feeling like, oh my gosh, I can finally do this. When the body is running on ketones produced by the accelerated keto, combined with intermittent fasting and a low carb, high protein diet, your ATP production increases, which is your true cellular energy, and the mitochondria and mitochondrial biogenesis is optimized. What does that mean? That means you are firing at the cellular level and you feel amazing. Furthermore, the ingredients in the accelerated keto breaks down saturated fats into unsaturated fats. And these unsaturated fats are easier for the body to utilize and easier for the body to convert into ketones. So when you're fasting, the body fat's more readily available to burn for energy, which increases ketones and autophagy mechanisms further. What is autophagy? Autophagy is like that little Pac-Man in your body, cleaning up all the bad and cancered cells and saying, we need to get rid of this junk. That's what it's doing. It can't do that when you're eating or digesting food. That mechanism shuts off. Because of this property, accelerated keto is able to help defat the liver as well. And it's well known the liver is responsible for converting stored fat into ketones. The more a person's liver is defatted and unclogged, the easier it is for the liver to function in all areas, breaking down fat molecules into usable energy and increasing that word called mitochondrial biogenesis. The liver is also where the thyroid hormone converts from T4 to T3. And as the liver function becomes better, the thyroid works better, increasing metabolism, mitochondrial function, and energy. Accelerated keto also has HMB, which prevents muscle wasting. Most people, when they're losing weight on a diet, lose muscle and fat at the same time. This allows your body to lose the fat and keep that expensive muscle. And especially as we're getting into our 40s, 50s, and 60s, it's really hard to keep that muscle mass on. And it's so important. It also has something called organic mucil, which is known to break down the fats in the body even more and provide an energy spark to burn those fats that it breaks down. Next is the acceleradine. This is a game changer in so many ways. Number one, we are all deficient in iodine. 96% of the United States is factually deficient in iodine. And iodine is needed for mental health, spiritual growth, thyroid health, metabolism. It is the number one predictor of depression. It's the number one predictor of Hashimoto's or thyroiditis. So you need your iodine, but not just any iodine. When you're taking the acceleradine, it increases ATP. Now remember, that's the energy at the cellular level by 18 times. That is shooting your energy physically and mentally through the roof. You combine that with the accelerated keto, and bam, that number goes way up. It helps with fat burning, healthy apoptosis, which is the destruction of diseased and cancer cells, and wound healing, of course, physical and mental performance. It also helps with fat oxidation. And when you're increasing that metabolism, you've got the energy to go do things. And you also are wanting to burn the fat with the accelerated keto. You see how they work together. As the thyroid's functioning optimally and the ATP is maximized, your exercise that you are doing is going to get better benefits, and you're going to have more energy to do more exercise or do more life, whatever that entails in your life. Acceleradine is the only monoatomic iodine, meaning that it's one molecule and has 100% bioavailability, and most iodines only have 10 to 20%. It's also enhanced with scalar frequencies to detox the cells from heavy metals, graphene oxide, radiation, and all the things that we have been bombarded with in the last 2 years. Next is the accelerated ancient salt, and this is not just any salt. It's essential to have an emulsifying salt and minerals, not only to stimulate digestion, but to hydrate the cells when you're fasting. And this salt pulls out the positively charged toxins, parasites, and undigested fats out of the body. It's full of 62 minerals, not just stripped of all the other minerals and left with just the sodium like most salts. And there's no toxins in it. It is also enhanced with scalar frequencies to further enhance its efficacy and detox the body and rehydrate at the same time. Next are some what you call stem cell patches. These patches increase your stem cell production. Look, I've got one right here on my thyroid. And the X39 patch increases or resets the genes, or over 4,000 genes in your body, to a younger state. So your body's essentially acting as if it's its 20-year-old self. That's going to increase detoxification, increase energy, increase fat burning, increase the function of all of your organs. And with that, I love wearing the energy enhancer patches. These increase the ATP production in the mitochondria, increase heart rate variability, improve bioelectrical measurement or the phase angle of the cell walls. So essentially the cells are healthier. And it just increases the energy that you feel within 20 minutes. The one that goes with that I love is the X49 patch. And this is new. This is increasing energy and recovery after exercise, improves cardiovascular function and focus. It increases muscle and burns fat, especially abdominal fat. And it helps with hair growth. Who doesn't want that? It also helps with bone density and osteoporosis. I give more tips and tools through my free group coaching on Telegram. You can join with the link below or email me through the website, acceleratedhealthproducts.com. The difference between me and any other group coaching is I provide the most cutting edge frequency enhanced supplements that work synergistically with each other and your body doesn't experience those flu-like symptoms. You truly do feel great day one. Leave a comment below if you're interested, or check it out on the website, acceleratedhealthproducts.com. Now to the good stuff. Jake Steiner is a semi-retired stock trader and investor. His personal passion is understanding human eyesight, and he has spent over the past 20 years in vision biology science, exploring nearsightedness prevention and reversal methods. He hosts the web's largest vision improvement community with many tens of thousands of participants, and has written over 1,200 articles on vision biology and myopia control. Jake, welcome. How are you today?
It is amazing to be on your show. I just listened to the last 10 minutes and I was just glued to the screen.
Well, thanks.
You're so much more professional. First of all, I mean, eyesight is incredibly important and people do not give it the credit that it's due, but I have zero supplements or products of any kind. So I'm not nearly as, how would you say it? I don't know how you would say it. I'm just telling you how to fix it, but I don't have stuff, right? Like it seems like supplements are way more amazing and way more fascinating to go, I'm going to eat this, I'm going to take that, I'm going to feel better.
Well, you just brought up a huge topic because I'm kind of the opposite in that I tell my clients the supplements aren't going to do the work by themselves. They're going to make it easier. They're going to make you feel great. In fact, I had someone in my group this morning say, I just finished hiking the Grand Canyon and the accelerated cleanse, my accelerated descent diet cleanse is what he's doing, made it so much more fun, so much easier. He had great energy and he can't wait to continue to feel good. But here you have someone that is doing life and he's going for hikes and going out there and being out there. And this is all stuff that you promote, is actually getting out and getting away from the screens and doing the things that are good for eyesight. So the lifestyle hacks plus the diet plus the supplements, they're all important. It's just not one key. I mean, you can't, if you're not sleeping, you can throw away your vision, you can throw away the supplements, you can, you've got to get the basics down as well. So I think there's a balance of all of it.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And 100% agree. I'm getting less and less popular, by the way, because especially with the last 2 years, what happened, and even before then, because screens are so fun and addictive, right? And people are less and less into their eyesight. I'm like, if you're hiking, if you're cycling, if you're doing sports, if you're out there, you don't want to wear glasses or contact lenses or be stuck behind this artificial fake vision, like it compresses what you see, it changes the colors, like all kinds of things happen that are not great for you. But the less people actually use their eyes, the less that's an issue, right? Like, so for people that hike the Grand Canyon, having great eyesight is a much bigger benefit.
Absolutely. Well, and with that, my 3 kids were home on Zoom during COVID. And number one, our internet was always having issues. Thank God my kids were old enough to not need my help on their classroom stuff on Zoom, because I know a lot of elementary school moms had to sit over their kids' shoulders and help them with their homework. And I didn't have to do that. But my kids complained a lot about headaches, about their eyes going blurry. And here I am with that issue at 46, and they're, 14, 16, and 18 getting those experiences, and they have perfect eyes. So before we dive into that, I want to tell people a little more about your journey and your background and what you've done with your personal eyesight.
Sure. So the super short version is I had terrible eyesight starting in my teens. And your kids might be headed in that direction and could be a cautionary tale. Couldn't see the board in school. My parents took me to the optometrist. The optometrist gave me glasses. And then just every couple of years, I got stronger glasses. And I can explain the biology, like that is by design. Like they make money doing exactly that. And eventually ended up with -5 diopter myopia. That is very thick glasses, thick enough to where if you take them off, you can't find them again unless you know where you put them. And I was an analyst early on. I became a stock trader, and my profession was asking questions, right? And early in my 20s, I went to the optometrist for the first time in many, many years because I couldn't see stuff well at night. And they said, you need stronger glasses. And I asked why, right? Because that's just what you do. And they said, it's genetic. And because of my work, right? Like our genetics did not change so dramatic in the last 50 years that all of a sudden 50% of Americans need glasses. That just happened. Our genes don't change in that small period of a time. And they were super not helpful and super insistent that I just need to buy these glasses. So I went and did research. because that's what I do. And I found the cause of nearsightedness well explained in science, and it was kind of shocking. And then I found that it's not a genetic condition or an illness at all. And it may be reversible. I read all the books. I did eye acupuncture in Nepal. I traveled all over the world poking around, and over time figured out a solution just for myself. And then I started writing a terrible blog. I got kicked out of a couple optometrist offices, and it was just a personal, it's still all up. Like if you look at the early parts of Myopia, the website, it's a lot of rants because I was just like, this is ridiculous. And that created a community over the years. And then people started trying it, and then people started trying other stuff. And over the years, over the last 20 years now, it turned into this huge community of people that figured out you can have perfect eyesight. And as much as I'm not a professional at this, like you are, you're amazing, I'm sort of running that show of you don't need glasses. And like your kids, if you took them to the optometrist tomorrow, I promise you that they would sell them glasses. And I want to help parents and people in general understand why that's not necessary and how to get themselves back into a better place with their eyes.
That, I mean, you are speaking my language, and I've never suffered from this issue, but as we were talking before the show, I'm 46, and I know from my profession that insulin resistance and blood sugar can affect blurred vision. And sometimes if I have too much sugar, or if I'm actually low, like my hypoglycemic, my vision will get tired and blurry. And my husband and I both are adamant that we are not going to wear glasses. And so I'm so glad that we are on the show today, and you can reconfirm what my beliefs are. So let's go into what is nearsightedness.
So the short version is you need glasses to see clearly at a distance. Short-sightedness or nearsightedness or myopia are the common terms. For most people, most people that started earlier, now it's like 5, 6, 7-year-olds, but for most people our age, it started in their teens. So not genetic, like you're not born with it, but something happened in your environment that causes you to become short-sighted. And
Okay.
I'll just keep going because I don't want to become the giant monologue. But so the biologically, the super short version is, if you go to scholar.google.com, it's the search engine for science and peer-reviewed studies only, right? So if you just want to see what the science actually said, scholar.google.com searches all of those. If you type in pseudomyopia or near-induced transient myopia, another super popular term, you're going to get tens of thousands of results of peer-reviewed clinical science that explains that there's a muscle in the front of your eye that helps you focus far and close. And the closer you look at something, specifically relevant for your kids and all of these Zoom class calls, the muscle tightens. So it bulges the lens out to move the light to focus on your retina for close vision, kind of like a camera. And not meant to do this for hours and hours and hours and hours endlessly every day. So what happens eventually, the muscle spasms. So what your kids were complaining about with the blurred vision is they were spending so much time at a close distance that muscle is just tight, keeping that close-up focus. And then when they try to look at a distance, the muscle doesn't fully relax. So it doesn't return the lens into distance vision mode. So now they have blurry vision and they have headaches. If they keep doing that over and over and over again, eventually that muscle just gets stuck in kind of an in-between position. Now you take them to the optometrist because they can't see far clearly, and then they get glasses. And then the glasses called something, they elongate the eyeball. Eye is perfectly healthy. Eye is not designed to have a lens in front of it. The lens moves the light further back in the eye to give you temporary clear vision. But as a result, the eye tries to adjust itself and it gets longer. And now you become dependent on glasses. So in the beginning, go ahead.
So you're saying that the eyeball that is originally round becomes elongated? Is that what you mean?
Yes, becomes football shaped. And axial change, you can look it up on Google Scholar, is that the eyeball is a fluid filled ball, right? And it's never perfect because it's the it's skin. No, it's not skin, but it's tissue that is surrounding this fluid. So it's never perfect. So there's a mechanism built into the eye to adjust its length throughout your entire life, because it's never perfect. It's always making that fine adjustment. Babies are hyperopic. So all babies can't see clearly up close until the eyeball adjusts itself from seeing your face, right? And it keeps looking at your face. And eventually that eyeball adjusts in length to where it can see you clearly. And that mechanism continues working in your whole life. And it gets hijacked by the glasses we wear.
So is it like any other muscle in your body where, say, I want to work out my bicep muscle, but if I held it in one position for hours and hours and hours, it's going to spasm. Whereas I need to move it, to exercise it, both up and down, contractions and release, and then I let it rest to repair its muscle and to grow. Would that be the same?
Very similar, because the main thing here being is the relaxed part is when you're looking at a distance. 20 feet and further, that muscle is completely relaxed. So that's where you want at least 30% or more, ideally, of your time for that muscle to be in a relaxed position. Biologically, we're designed for primarily distance vision and some amount of close-up that always varies, right? Like if you're cooking or playing or doing stuff in the three-dimensional world, even if you're in close-up, you still always vary the distance. So that muscle is always moving. But when you're staring at a screen, that muscle is in one tight position. And it's not designed that way. And eventually it just gets stuck there.
So where do blue light glasses come into the mix? Because, my kids are thinking, okay, well, at least I can wear blue light glasses while I'm on Zoom all day.
Yes, that is like Coke Zero and low-fat yogurt. It's companies people figure out that my product is unhealthy. So let me pick one ingredient. It's like that Wonder Bread that's fortified with vitamins. It's still terrible, right? But it's the same idea. The blue light part of the spectrum is problematic for lots of things, your sleep cycles, all kinds of stuff. But it's a fraction of the problem of you staring at a screen. Like the 4-hour Netflix binge at night, yes, blue light is an issue, but the Netflix binge at night is a bigger issue. So people put on the blue light glasses as sort of take away the guilt. Now I'm fine, right? Like you addressed 10% of the problem. Like you still shouldn't be sitting in front of a screen for so long. Primarily the people that sell blue light glasses, these things wholesale cost $2 to $5, just the lenses, any prescription lenses. So it is a giant profit-making machine because it takes away that guilt of, actually I have a screen addiction, but let me just pop on these glasses.
Okay, so now I'm going to go to the red light. There's so much red light therapy out there for body health, and I believe that it does a lot of good for the whole body. But I'm curious, does it have a positive or negative or no effect on the eyesight?
There are, it's an evolving part of science of understanding. There are therapies that are super promising red light for specific eye conditions that I don't deal with. Interesting and promising. I'm a simple guy, right? Like people ask me like, how much UV exposure do I need? How much distance vision do I need? I say the closer you can be to where this thing belongs, physically outside a lot, moving a lot, being exposed to the full spectrum, including UV, is going to be ideal for your eyes. I don't have really specific, I'm not saying avoid any of the red light therapies or do more of them, because I'm not an expert on that.
And then when you are outside and exposing yourself to UVs, do you recommend trying not to wear sunglasses?
I wear sunglasses when squinting becomes an issue. Like that's kind of the threshold. Like if you're otherwise going like this, like there's just too much light exposure, wear sunglasses. If there's less than that, it's really nice to get natural light exposure, because remember, any kind of glass will cut the UV. So if you're sitting in a car or even in a well-lit natural room, as soon as there's glass, you're not getting UV exposure. So you have to be outside and you have to have no lens in front of your eye, basically.
Okay, that all helps, because that's what I do. I essentially really try to go If I'm working during the day, I am craving a walk with my dogs at the end of the day for that reason, just to get out and to be in the sun. And it's amazing how my whole body changes, my whole physiology changes just by a 20-minute walk with my dogs. Brings down my cortisol, but my eyes feel better. I can really only handle an hour and a half in front of my computer. After this podcast, I need to go move my body. I need to go do something. I have to get away from my screen. So I don't know how people sit in front of their screens for 8 hours a day. What is your recommendation? Because, some people don't have a choice, but they are sitting in an office or at home in front of their computer all day.
The first thing, and before I forget, I was going to mention that for your kids too, eye chart. It's just like having a scale. Print an eye chart or buy an eye chart or more than one. Have them in the house, because the podcast example is a great one. If you check what you can see, hang it up anywhere in that space. It doesn't have to be, the 6 meter or 3 meter exact distance, just somewhere, and then see which lines you can read. And remember that distance, right? Like, just pick the distance, doesn't matter. And then before and after, before this podcast and after, the smallest line you can read before, can you still read it an hour after, right? And maybe 2 hours after, or after you're having the Netflix binge, as I like to mention. At some point, you can't read the small line that you could read before. That's when that muscle got stuck. Same for the kids, right? Like the Zoom chats and all that stuff. It's just, hey, can you still read that same line? And there will come a moment where you're like, no, it's kind of blurry now. Time to take a break. And the break should be at least as long as it takes for you to be able to read that same line again. It's telling you very clearly that that muscle's unstuck. It's back to giving your eyes distance vision. So it's a super, super simple way to test where your eye strain limit is.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a short commercial break and come back and talk to Jake more about what we can do to reverse our eye damage, because who thought you could go backwards? Welcome back to Accelerated Health Radio and TV. I'm your host, Sara Banta, the owner of Accelerated Health Products. And today we're talking to Jake Steiner all about Eyesight. Jake, so why don't eye exercises work?
Eye exercises are the most popular thing on the internet. It drives me crazy because your eyes don't need exercise. Your eyes are over-exercised. What happens with your eyes, right? Like the activity, the muscular activity in your eye is called the ciliary muscle that controls focus, and the extraocular muscles that move your eyes around. But that's not that big of an issue. The focusing muscle is over-exercised. So you're holding that muscle tight for so many hours. What your eyes need is the opposite of that. Your eyes need to be relaxed, and your eyes are relaxed with distance vision. So the eye exercises, number one, don't address the root cause of your myopia. So the sitting in front of a screen is not helped in any way by doing exercises, and you cannot reverse it. Right? Like as we're having this conversation, I have 20/20 eyesight. I never did LASIK. I'm not wearing contact lenses. I have perfect vision, and my eyesight was so bad. Most optometrists and ophthalmologists will tell you it's impossible what I did. That is the common rhetoric that can't be done. I did it. Never did an eye exercise. The key really is spend less time in front of the screen and be super careful about the so-called prescriptions that people sell you, putting in front of your face.
So with that, what are the tools that you tell your people to use to fix their eyesight besides relaxing them? And a side question, when you're closing your eyes, is that also part of the relaxation time, or does it actually need to be distance eyesight?
Closed eyes is kind of neutral because now there's nothing going on. The distance vision is a better activity. Closing your eyes is better than looking at a screen, but for a net positive effect, you do need distance vision. And I'll give you the super short version of what works. There's obviously a lot more details, but the number one thing is what you mentioned is you can't do more than an hour and a half. People lose that strain awareness. People can only sit in front of a screen 8 hours a day because the strain awareness is gone. And that's not great. So the number one thing is you need breaks, and you need to make breaks a habit. Like for you, it's an hour and a half. For me, it's 3 hours is my maximum. You need to start having breaks that you do so consistently that they become a habit that is hard to break. And that rebuilds the strain awareness, where if you go for 3 hours, an hour and a half is your limit, you're going to really not enjoy that. Number one thing. Number two is to never, ever, ever, ever wear the distance glasses that you were sold for your close-up. So the glasses that the optometrist gave you for perfect distance vision, they are way too powerful for screen distance. They are terrible for screen distance. The number one reason you need stronger glasses after the first one is because you didn't take them off while you're looking at your computer. If you can read your computer without your glasses, never, never, never wear them while you're on the computer. Like, it's terrible for your eyes. If your eyesight is already so far out of alignment that you need glasses to see your screen, get lesser ones. So a diopter or a diopter and a half lower. If you buy glasses just for computer use, a diopter and a half lower, and you wear them for 3 or 4 weeks, you will never go back to wearing full power glasses for close-up. Like, if you do, you're just going to feel dizzy and disoriented and terrible. Strain awareness comes back, and you're reducing the eye strain by wearing less strong glasses for close-up. It makes a massive difference. And in some countries, like in Germany, it's already getting fairly, well, common might be overstating it, but it's becoming more accepted for optometrists to give you computer glasses that are at least a diopter lower. It's well understood in science. So that's just for strain management. That's really important. And then after you do all that and figure that out and take a month or two to make friends with your eyes, figure out if the distance glasses you're wearing are not way stronger than you actually need. Because it's very common. The optometrist will sell you the most powerful stuff possible. So when you walk out of there, you'll have 8K crazy vision at night or in a storm or at any time, probably way too strong for your everyday. So dialing in the lenses you put in front of your eyes to not overpower you is going to get you a long way towards improving your eyesight. And then once you figure out the details, most people, and I've dealt with tens of thousands of people, you can find them in our Facebook group. You have a 25,000 member Facebook group. You have a 90,000 member forum. Every 3 to 4 months, you can reduce your glasses by about a quarter diopter. So in a year, you make 3 to 4 reductions, and your vision remains about exactly the same.
And are you telling me that, I mean, no, we both are in our mid 40s, so we're at that age where a lot of people start wearing glasses to read, which is the opposite condition, correct?
Yes.
Where, kind of, are you saying that people don't ever need glasses as they age?
So that one's tricky. So what happens is, as we age, and we're the same age, so I can't say anything because I keep saying that I'm not getting old. But the lens that I was talking about, the flexible lens in the front of your eye, it hardens a little bit. It becomes less flexible than when you were 20. And when you're looking at stuff up close, that the muscle I was talking about, it's a circular muscle around that lens, and it pulls that lens. It has to work harder to pull the lens as much because the lens isn't as flexible anymore. So at some point, you lose some of the closest close-up vision. Right? Like what you could read like right in front of your face when you were 20, now might be a bit blurry because the muscle goes, I can't pull the lens that far. Happens. Diet plays definitely a role. Genetics may play a role. Lots of things may play a role. The biggest problem is if you start wearing reading glasses plus lenses, Now that muscle doesn't have to work at all. It's a substitute for the muscle changing the shape of the lens. So as soon as you go to the optometrist and like, well, you're in your 40s, I'll sell you some new stuff. You pop on that +1 and all of a sudden you're like, wow, that is nice. It's easy to read. It's super clear. It's no effort. If you do that, then the lens is not being moved anymore. And the less that lens is being moved, the more that lens hardens. And now you become dependent on those. Now you can't function without them. So my comment on the reading glass use is resist using them if you don't need them. Don't pop those things on and be like, well, that's nice. Lots of things are nice. Like donuts are nice, right? Like it's not good for you. So better lighting, what we're talking about, full spectrum light. If you sit next to a window, your vision is going to be just fine. If you're trying to read stuff in the dark, more challenging. And maybe that's not the time to do a lot of that, right? And maybe if you're in a restaurant and it's half dark and you need to read a crappy small print menu, maybe you pop on some reading glasses, but resist the urge to stop your eyes from doing the work so you don't become dependent on reading glasses.
Okay, and that's where I'm at. And so this is really interesting because I'm from a family of four kids. I'm the third. I've got my two siblings that are older and my sibling that's younger. All are wearing glasses, and they have been for years. On my husband's side, his two brothers, he's the middle child, they are both wearing glasses. And he and I are not, because we've resisted. I can tell you that collagen, the eye tissue is made up of 80 or 90% collagen. I've been taking a liquid biocell collagen supplement for over 10 years. And these stem cell patches are supposed to regenerate your genes and regenerate your tissues to a younger state. And diet definitely affects it. As I mentioned before, if I have a high sugar dessert, my vision goes blurry and I'll get a headache, of course. But even if I'm really tired from a long day of work and I've fasted all day, my vision will start going blurry. So all of these things affect the vision, not just a need for glasses. And I've been able, and my husband is adamant to resist it because he knows that once he starts wearing them, it's never going to go back. It's like that crutch of the drink at the end of the night, right? You're right. You need that little relief. So let's get into eyeglasses or contacts. Is there one that's better than the other?
Oh boy, it's okay. So if you're sitting in front of a computer, number one, your blink rate is reduced by a factor of 5. So you blink 5 times less staring at a screen or a book than you would normally. Your blinking delivers tear fluid to the front of your eyes, which you need. The contact lens needs that tear fluid to float in. So if you're using contact lenses while you're staring at a screen, your eyes drying out because you're not blinking a lot, the contact lens doesn't have enough tear fluid to float in, start sticking to your eyeball. Corneal thinning becomes an issue. The cornea is the front of the eye, the clear part of the eye. You can look it up on Google Scholar. Corneal thinning contact lenses has been studied plenty. The structure of the eye becomes thinner, doesn't reverse. Not today or tomorrow, but if you do this, you plan on doing this for life, you're going to potentially have consequences. Corneal scarring happens, all kinds of things. So a contact lens while sitting in front of a screen for 10 hours is not wise. Conversely, if you're running around outside with glasses, you have no peripheral vision. Like if you're in a state where peripheral vision is part of your vision and you remove it, you're going to get anxiety, you're going to get posture problems, you're going to walk funny because you need to look at the ground, right? Because you have no peripheral vision. So your posture is going to be all messed up. Kids are going to get social anxiety and they're going to be bullied. Glasses are not a great thing when you're in motion. So contact lenses are great for that. They give you good peripheral vision. The optical quality is much better. You're not wearing a thing on your face. You look much less strange, weird to people, because when you wear glasses, you have to look through the center of the lens. So your eye movement and your neck movement are slightly unnatural. So you just seem weird socially to people. So this is a vast generalization, but I say when you're
Yeah.
planning to be in motion or around people or not looking at screen, a contact lens a lot of time is a better solution. But when you're static and looking at screens, they're not that great.
That's a great explanation. It's kind of unrealistic because we're living life, right? We're hopefully we're intermingling our being at the computer and going outside, and it's hard to go, take the contacts in and take the contacts out, but that really does make a lot of sense. And the fact that it just changes your vision where the glasses do, where you have no peripheral vision, no one really thinks about that, and the structural and the posture issues. It's almost like dental health. People don't recognize how important your dental health is to your whole body, and your teeth could be affecting your hip joints and things like that, where you would never expect that connection. Your eyesight is so important, and how it interplays with your other senses, like your hearing and your taste. And we have a few more minutes, Jake, and I want to leave the listeners with a few tools that they can use, that you recommend to your groups to help strengthen their eyesight.
The number one thing is what I mentioned earlier, is an eye chart. You want a frame of reference, right? Like right now, you're really in this abstract world of you don't know how your eyes are doing. What you mentioned about diet is absolutely true. You have an insulin spike, your eyesight will not be that great. Moods, sleep, everything affects eyesight. So an eye chart is a super handy tool to get a tangible frame of reference where you're at with the eyesight. Similarly, if you're actually curious, the diopters, the weird prescription numbers that nobody knows what they mean, very easily decoded. So if you wanted to buy glasses online for 90% cheaper than the optometrist, but don't know how to measure, you can do that at home very easily. You just need a measuring tape. I like the flexible ones, right? The little, just like they use it for cutting clothes. One next to your eye, and the other wherever the end of the book is. Like a book is ideal, and hold it at a distance where it's perfectly clear. Explain to you how to just measure this so you can buy your own glasses, and then slowly move the book back till the text stops being perfectly clear. Just like a tiny little bit of, you're like, there's something changed here. That distance equals diopters. So, and the way that works is, for example, you can move the book away 50 centimeters. Sorry, I don't know about inches. And then you see the tiniest bit of blur. You need -2 diopter glasses for perfect vision in that scenario. And the way it works is you take 100, divide it by the distance that you can see clearly in centimeters, that equals diopters. So 100 divided by 50, you could see the book at 50 centimeters. 100 divided by 50 equals 2. So if you were to buy 2 diopter glasses in that scenario, you'd have perfect distance vision. So with this very simple formula and understanding how diopters work, you can do the same thing that an optometrist does for myopia measurement. It doesn't substitute an eye exam. Go see an ophthalmologist every year to get an eye health checkup for sure. But if you just want to check your vision, that measuring tape will do it. And the fascinating thing is the number's not static. That 50 centimeter example, if you ate a donut, it's going to be 45. If you didn't sleep, it's maybe going to be 40. In crappy lighting, it might be 38. Once you start measuring, it becomes super interesting where you go, what if I did this next to a window? Instead of 50, now it's 55 or 60. You fasted, 62. That number varies a lot, and that number will tell you whether what you're doing is good for your eyes or bad for your eyes. And if you do that, you're going to move from passively consuming this content as a tidbit that's interesting to actually going, let me try this. And that puts you in the direction of improving not just your eyesight in the future, but also the things that you should be doing to make your life better.
I have to give a little example of myself. I was going really blurry in my eyes, And I was getting very upset at myself because I also am worried about my hearing. And these are two things that I'm experimenting with supplements. I'm experimenting with my diet, experimenting with the patches, and they're helping. But the one thing that I found was, and this is something that everyone out there is going to be shocked about, I used stevia as a sweetener because that's no sugar, right? It's like the Coke Zero, where we think we're doing a little bit better. But when I found out that the stevia was causing an insulin reaction, but also backing up my liver, and I cut it out of my diet, guess what? My vision got better. It was amazing. And it was just that one thing. And that's something I really want to emphasize too, as you're talking about the exercise, the things that we can do to improve our vision. But diet is so important. And diet and exercise, and whether it's moving your whole body and running outside with the dogs to see the distance vision and to get the blood flow going. But also inflammation in the optic nerve is a huge cause of blurred vision. And I experienced it myself. And inflammation comes from sugar and carbs in the wrong diet, and stress. Chronic stress increases inflammation. So when you start doing some of these hacks versus lifestyle hacks, or the things you're talking about, or the supplements to reduce inflammation in the body and the brain, everything's going to work better, and your hearing will get better, your eyesight will get better. And you know what else is crazy, Jake? My taste buds got reset when I cut the stevia out of my diet, and I can actually taste sugar and sweetness so much more. So there's something to all of this, and this brings me back to where we started, that it's not just supplements, it's not just diet, it's not just these things that you're talking about, but it's a balance of all of it. And I'm so excited that we had this conversation, and I'm so excited to go to my husband and tell him that we are doing the right thing, and now we just need to incorporate some of these things that you have mentioned. Can you tell people where they can find you and what you are offering?
Endmyopia.org is the website, and there's nothing. I like I jokingly mentioned in the beginning, I don't sell anything. I don't have any supplements. This is my passion project. I was really upset when I found out that I spent my youth behind glasses when it was unnecessary. So everything you need is free. There's a huge Facebook group. We've got a terrible YouTube channel. We've got all kinds of how-to guides. There's 1,200 some odd just articles on all the stuff you could possibly need. And lots of people having conversations about not just improving the eyesight, but just changing lifestyles and health in general, and diet, and lots of other things. So I think it's a great community. It's a great opportunity. Another step in the right direction of liberating yourself from the bad parts of the system.
And you mentioned something else that I just want to emphasize. You mentioned, just by focusing on improving your eyesight, someone's going to improve their eyesight, because you are focused on, it's kind of like, well, I'm focused on losing weight. Well, my body's going to, because I'm manifesting it, because I'm connecting my mind and my body together to work together and start manifesting a goal. So just by being intentional on improving your eyesight, you're going to do it. I'm so happy to have you. Thank you, Jake. You're doing wonderful things in this world. And I know it's very late in the world, or in the part of the world that you're in, and very early in the part of the world I'm in. So I appreciate your time and coming on our show today. And thank you, everybody else, for joining us today. If I can help you with your health issues, you can contact me directly through the website, acceleratedhealthproducts.com. I'm happy to put together a personalized protocol for you. I know it's sometimes hard to know where to start. And you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram under Accelerated Health Products, and my YouTube channel, and over 100 other podcast platforms under Accelerated Health Radio and TV. That includes iHeart, iTunes, Stitcher, Pandora, or whatever podcast platform you subscribe to. Join us weekly every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. You can use coupon W4HC20 for 20% off site-wide. Thanks, everybody, and have a great week.